Hey everybody, welcome back to the Skookum Report. I'm Bob, and today I have a couple of Bigfoot encounter stories from Bobby Short's material. And as always, I'd like to thank her friends and family for allowing me to have them on the Skookum Report. It's greatly appreciated. The first one is called Old Texas Weird Sound Stories. And it goes on to say, I used to hunt a property in Texas close to Ranger Mountain. It was very rugged and had thick brush and steep canyons. Anyway, the landowner told me when he was in high school around 1968 or 69, he and a friend of his were deer hunting one evening, and they both decided to meet after dark on a dirt road to head back to their vehicle. He told me they met and they were about to leave when they heard what he said was a blood-curdling scream very close to them. He said they just started running and got out of there. Now, I've been told another time when someone else heard this scary scream at night also when I was living in Texas. The people thought it was a mountain lion that sounded like a woman screaming in pain. I also used to hunt on some property close to Lake Whitney that was owned by the Army Corps of Engineers. I was speaking to a lady one day that was walking her dog on the road, and I started talking to her to find out where some good hunting might be since she was a local. I asked her if there were any mountain lions in the area, and she told me that one time she thought there was one coming around at night that would dig into some compost piles to get dead fish remains. She told me all the dogs in the area would be scared when this thing was around and would not make a sound. She said normally that they would bark all night long. I asked her this because in all my years in the woods, I have never seen so many skeletons of dead carnivores in the woods. I found dead bobcat bones and skulls, coyotes, and dogs. It was weird to me to find so many bones that did not belong to animals like deer or rabbits. This may not be anything, but I thought that I would send it in. There's one more experience I had when I was in Wyoming in the Medicine Bowl National Forest. I was fishing one morning very early at the far end of a reservoir, and I was catching some good brown trout. I kept getting this feeling I was being watched from behind in the thick tree line. Every now and then I would glance back to make sure nothing was coming. I had a very bad feeling and did not have hearing aids at the time, but I heard a huge branch snap from inside the tree line. It had to be big because I have about 50% hearing loss. I thought that it was an elk because the sound was so loud. Anyway, I looked back, but I couldn't see anything. And I just thought that whatever was watching me decided to move on. I normally check that kind of stuff out by going into the woods and finding the source, but I guess I was a little too scared this time because I didn't have a gun with me. Good luck, and I hope this helps. Lori and Mario Perez. I'd be scared to death in the woods if I was out there hunting by myself and heard all kinds of the noise like that. This next one is Texas Hill Country, Bandera County, Texas. It says, I grew up in one of those tiny towns around the Texas Hill Country in Bandera County. As a kid back in the late 70s, I used to play with a neighbor lady's grandson who would come every summer from Baltimore, Maryland to stay with her for 2 weeks. He was a real city boy. Everybody pretty much has a rural resident area where all the residences connect quickly with the woods. One afternoon, when I went to visit the neighbor boy who was there visiting, he was a bit spoiled and was allowed to stay up till 4 or 5 a.m. every night watching TV and then sleep till the early afternoon the next day. But this day he was freaked out because he told me that the night before around 3 a.m. he happened to look out his window and saw a huge man thing walk very briskly down another neighbor's long gravel driveway and disappear into the darkness in the woods behind their house. This neighbor had a huge streetlight on their carport that lit the whole area at night where he saw the thing. It was about 75 yards away. He said the thing covered 50 or 60 yards in a few seconds worth of walking. When I first began to believe him was when we were dirt biking a day or two later down a long desolate country unpaved dirt road on my dirt bike. And he kept asking me, and he was on the back of my dirt bike, hey, when are we going to turn around? We got to the end of the road and I killed the bike and then pretended like it wouldn't start. This poor kid was scanning the brush like he was scared to death something would come out and get us. He was panicking and crying and saying that we had to get out of there because we have these things roaming around. Seeing him so freaked out got me a little freaked out too, and we just left. We were about 11 or 12. I now live in San Antonio, and last winter our 10 o'clock news had a brief blurb about 2 men witnessing a couple Sasquatch chasing deer off of Highway 151. It was a little connector road that runs on the northwest outskirts of town. This subject is fascinating to me, and I learned after reading a lot of stories that they don't just dwell in the tall forests. There are a lot of sightings in the low brush country as well. I wish I had more info on the deer chasing incident to give you. And that one was anonymous. I want to thank y'all for checking out the Skookum Report, and if you or anybody you know has had an encounter or sighting or something like that and you'd like to have it on the show here, just write it down in an email and shoot it off to me at skookumreport@gmail.com. That's skookumreport@gmail.com. And I'll be sure to get it on the show for you. It's not a problem at all. And leave a comment and say hi. I enjoy talking to you guys. And if you liked what you heard, hit subscribe and click that bell for notifications. Whenever a new Skookum Report is posted, you'll get a notification from YouTube. And so until next time, from the Skookum Report, I'm Bob, and y'all take care and God bless. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.